welcome back to Lifting the Lamp. I'm Frater Eleftheria, and in this video I'm going to give you a demonstration of how to do an Enochian scrying ritual. So in one of my previous videos, which I will leave a link to in the description below, I showed you how to set up a basic Enochian ritual. And so once you've got all of that in place, you can then do certain invocations and certain other things to actually put a ritual into action and use that to scry a particular ether or whatever it is to gain knowledge from the Enochian angels. And so what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to show you some footage that I've done of myself going through one of these rituals, so you can see what it looks like in practice. Once you've done the setup, the ritual itself is quite simple. I'm working with one of the Enochian calls, so I read it in English first, then Enochian, then I focus on the scrying crystal as a point of concentration and withdraw within and start to receive images and words, and it's really that simple. But it can help to see what that looks like. And with this particular footage, I've decided not to cut it and to present it in a fairly raw fashion. And so there's a lot of pauses and silences where I'm withdrawing within to receive the vision. And my voice will change, perhaps not be as audible as when I normally speak. And the things that I'm saying will sound cryptic and kind of sound like they don't make a lot of sense. But that is the way that these scrying sessions actually play themselves out. We receive symbols and messages, and it can be weeks or months or sometimes even years before we figure out what they mean. So I want to show you the authentic practice, not the curated version. I think that's going to be of the most value to people. I've done tons of these kinds of scryings before, both in group settings and as an individual. And this particular scrying is going to be of that level of the Enochian heavens, which is opened by the 16th Call. And the reason why I'm doing that is because when I've previously opened the 16th gate using the 16th Call, I have received a vision which I still, to this day, am trying to interpret. And that is a vision I received of an Enochian letter, the Enochian equivalent of the letter Q, which was accompanied by the message to study this letter. It contains the mysteries of the temple, and you're supposed to study the mysteries of the temple. And that's contained in the Voces Caelesti that I recently published with all my angelic communications in there. And so I've been trying to understand this message in more recent years, and I've received other communications from the angels about the rebuilding of the temple in particular as a archetypal symbolic narrative. And so I've made efforts to try and understand the rebuilding of the temple by studying the book of Ezekiel, and also through bibliomancy. The last time I used bibliomancy to understand this mystery, I got Isaiah chapter 66. And what both of those sections of the Bible do is they point towards the symbolism of the temple as representing a particular relationship with God that people are supposed to have, rather than a physical structure. And so the emphasis seemed to be on the way of correctly relating to God at a particular time. And so I wondered what the connection was between this theme of a relationship between God and how that related to the building of a temple, the building of a structure. Because those seem to be two different stories that are happening, and I just wondered how they were married up. And I've puzzled over this for a long time. And so the purpose of this particular scrying was to ask the very angels that gave me that instruction in the first place, what exactly I'm supposed to know about the building of the temple that relates to these two references in the Bible. And I also ask for a message for you, the viewers, at the end. So stick around for that. Although once again, it's cryptic and will take some time to kind of decipher, but that's sort of what you expect with this kind of thing. So it was a very good scrying session, I must say, one of my better ones. I had been fasting for about 24 hours by the time I did that video. No food, no water, no liquids of any kind. And I think that might have actually enhanced the effect of the ritual, and it might have actually brought me closer to the divine. So that's an interesting thing to note. You'll notice that my beard is quite unkempt as well and is growing down onto my neck. I hadn't shaved for about 3 weeks as well by that point. I'd spent a few weeks in introspection and prayer before doing this. It's sacrificing certain things in the process in an effort to get closer to that state. But this is a ritual you can easily replicate yourself if you're working with one of the calls, one of the 49 gates, whether that's the 30 ethers or the other gates connected to the book of Lower Gaiath. So basically you just use the call that you want to open the gate that you want. And in this kind of a ritual with the calls, you also want the tables of Lower Gaiath with you. So you'll see, looking at the video, there's like what looks like an open file or folder with some pages in it. Those are the pages with the writing of the tables on them. Open to table 17 for the 16th call. And so that's what you need for a ritual like this. And I hope that you enjoy that footage of us scrying. Without further ado, here it is. O thou of the second flame, the house of justice, which has thy beginning in glory and shalt comfort the just, which walkest upon the earth with feet 8,763 that understand and separate creatures. Great art thou in the God of stretch forth and conquer. Move and show yourselves. Open the mysteries of your creation. Be friendly unto me, for I am the servant of the same your God, the true worshipper of the highest. Yils, Vivi Alput, Salomon, Balt Dies, Acrododzi, Buzd Od, Bliorax, Balit, Disinsi Kaioj, Lustan Imod, Disom Od, Tliob Drilpa J Yils, Madzilodap, Zaika Od Zamran, Odo Sikail, Kwaai Zorj, Lapzudo Nokwo, Mad Ho, Jaida. Angels of the 16th Gate. Show yourselves in the scrying crystal, show yourselves in my mind's eye. Let this crystal be a focus for my attention, that you may show me the visions that you wish to share with me. Give me a sign in the crystal that you are present here now. A wife, yes. I saw a wife, yes. Since you are here, since you are present here, O angels, I have called you forth. I have opened the gate to your heaven, because it was in this heaven that I was given a message by you to study the mysteries of the temple by way of a letter, an Enochian letter. And now I have come back to you to deepen my understanding of that mystery. I have studied the letter. I have studied the temple in the book of Ezekiel. I have studied Isaiah 66, and I believe I am on the brink of understanding the heart of the mystery. And now I ask you to tell me what more I need to know to understand this mystery, in the form of a vision, in the form of a communication. Please provide that to me now. I see a tetrahedron. Tetrahedron. What is the meaning of this symbol? The four sides. The four sides. Balanced by the three. Four sides balanced by the three. What else? I see a winged scarab. Egyptian mysteries. I'm being pointed towards Egyptian mysteries. To understand the temple, one must understand the Egyptian mysteries, because that is where the sacred symbolism of the temple ultimately derived from. And that is why I keep being shown the pyramid. The tetrahedron is 4 complete sides, which are triagonal, representing the 3, and the Great Pyramid, it has the 4, but this is represented by 4 sides of a square pyramid with the same mysteries communicated. And so, but then this was, so that is why the New Jerusalem in my Enochian visions always appears as a pyramid rather than a cube, because that is the most essential form of the New Jerusalem, and that is the most essential form of the temple. The temple is a cube, and the New Jerusalem is a cube, and the temple is the New Jerusalem, and the temple and the New Jerusalem are both Eden. And Eden has 4 sides, the 4 rivers flowing in from 4 sides and that is why there is a river running out of the temple of Ezekiel, and that's why there are gates on every side except for the west side, because that is the height of godliness represented in 2 dimensions, and none can approach from above God. But I know this already through my study. I know this about the river, I know this about the gates. But of what consequence is it to the rebuilding of the temple, the idea of the rebuilding of the temple? What consequence is it to know the significance of the symbolism of Ezekiel's temple? What has that to do with building? Show me. An observatory. I'm seeing an observatory and a telescope, the dome with the slit in it for the telescope to point through. In order for the observatory to function, it is necessary for it to align with the correct stars. It is necessary for it to be built on a location that is high enough altitude and with clear enough skies that it can see the heavens. And it is necessary for the right programming to run through these modern observatories so that they can track stars. And the correct coordinates, the correct measurements are all needed. Measurements are needed to track the stars. And the observatory, it performs its function by tracking one star in the heavens and not another. Therefore, must the correct measurements be given to track the correct star. And without this, the observatory is just an empty dome. It serves no purpose. So this is why the symbolism of Ezekiel must be understood to fully be able to rebuild the temple, because it is necessary to understand the symbolism in the new age of that temple, in the millennial kingdom, in the millennium, that temple that is reconstructed then, to understand the symbolism of that for the temple to be able to be fully put into effect. Whether that is a literal temple or the inner temple that we all must become, that we all must build within. And it is not the temple, it is not the old temple that we must build, it is the new one, it is Ezekiel's temple. That is why it is necessary to understand the symbolism of that particular temple so that we can enter into a higher, more elevated relationship with God. That's it. That's it. The observatory. That explains it. The Egyptian mysteries will explain further. Study Egypt. I'll just leave a note here. Study Egypt further for deepening the understanding of the mystery. Okay. Well, that's given me what I need. That's given me what I needed to know. Just as I finish this video, I want to ask our angels Is there anything else that you would like to give me that is a message to the people watching? I've done much for myself here tonight. Is there anything that I can give to my viewers? Give me a vision, please. Some kind of mountain. 3 mountains all in a row, sort of lined up. There's like one mountain in the foreground and then there's another behind it and another behind it. 3 mountains. Look for 3 mountains, and there will be wisdom. The meaning of that will become plain in the days and weeks to come. I mean, I've got an idea of what it could mean, very obvious meaning that comes to my mind, but that might not be the meaning that's intended. So I'll share that with you if I meditate on it and that becomes clear to me that that's something that I should extrapolate on. Otherwise, there's 3 mountains that we have to look out for somehow. So that is it. That's my scrying session with the angels of this gate. I thank you, my angels, for giving me this information and for allowing me to film this for the benefit of others, and I bid you thank you and goodbye. Well, I hope that you enjoyed that. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe to my channel to support my work, hit the notification bell so you actually get notified of my future videos, hit join or thanks to support me further. Please do leave comments down below because that also helps to bump my videos up in the algorithm. And I will also invite you to join my mailing list. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. Buy a copy of the Voces Caelesti, the book that I recently published that has many communications from the scrying such as you saw tonight. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. And also on the topic of Enochian magic, this year I will be speaking at EnochiaCon 2026 in Austin, Texas. There's a very exciting lineup of speakers at that conference, and I would encourage you to, if you want to go along, to go to the link in the description and use that to sign up. And by using the link in the description, you're helping me as well. So go check all of that out. Thank you again for listening to this video, and I'll see you next time.